Hi everyone, it's the Board Game Guru. I just thought it would be good to do some post-Essen impressions of some games, and so I thought I'd talk about Fuji, which is a game from Feuerlandspieler and illustrated by Emerson Santiago, whose style is extremely distinctive and recognizable. He did The Bloody Inn, and in Fuji he's done some really great illustrations, some stuff that really brings this game to life. Now, when I heard that the game was cooperative, I wasn't that interested because really I'm not much of a co-op guy. However, it's from the guy that made The Mind, and I really liked The Mind. I thought that was pretty cool. It was a nice introduction to co-op games. I've introduced a lot of people to it. And this one was more of a game. It's more of dice rolling. It's got some interesting stuff that's going on. And in it, you're trying to escape from a volcano. So if everybody gets out, then you win. If one person at least is left behind, you don't make it out. Now, the way that you do it is actually quite interesting. So each of the location cards that you go to has a requirement at the bottom. And you'll see that that dice requirement tells you what your criteria are for trying to get to that specific spot. So if you put your token on this particular card, let's say, then only your pink dice, so your dice that have pink faces, and specifically the pink 1s, 2s, and 3s will count towards you getting to this particular location. So there are different steps during the game which you do various different things. So on your little handy player aid, you'll see the first step is to roll your dice. The second step is to decide where you want to move to. The third step is to do your re-rolls. So you get a certain number of re-rolls based on how far you are going. So if you're staying in the same place, you'll get 2 re-rolls. If you're moving 1 or 2 spaces, you'll get 1 re-roll. And if you're moving 3 spaces, which is the most that you can go, you get no re-rolls at all. So during the re-rolls, you're not allowed to talk at all. And the interesting thing in this game is that you're not allowed to show people what you rolled, and of course not allowed then to talk about your roll exactly. So you're not allowed to say, I have rolled this many 1s or this many pink dice or whatever, but you can be a bit more vague about it. Now, a lot of people focus on that. That's not really the big part of it. You could actually play the whole thing without talking. I almost think of it as you could do it like Magic Maze, where you just sort of look at someone, or you just kind of suggest that it's their turn to think about it, or you say, well, I don't think you should go there. That's kind of the negotiation that's involved. Then in step 4, you get to play any of your equipment. You can also do that in step 2 as well. And then later on, you can reveal all your dice. So once you reveal, you do a comparison. And if you, on your criteria, so if we take that example that I talked about earlier, when we look at all my pink 1s, 2s, and 3s, let's say I scored a 10 and the best other person scored a 5, then only using those criteria, then I succeed in moving to wherever it is that I chose to move. And one other interesting thing is that you lose health points or stamina based on the extent to which you beat everybody else. So if you beat them by a lot, then you're going to only lose a couple of points or 0. If you only just beat them, or if you didn't beat them at all, you're going to lose the maximum number of health points. And during the course of losing health points, this can be quite a big deal, because when you get injured, you then lose part of your capability. So you might lose a die, or you might lose the ability to hold equipment, etc. And now, talking about equipment, it's quite interesting the way that the game is set up, because there are different locations and you can then move to those locations. And when you move to certain of them, there are pieces of equipment lying around. When you pick it up, you can then use it. And these are once-off effects. So once you've used it, you discard it. And they can be quite interesting. So you can, for example, hand over one of your dice to someone, or you could get rid of certain dice from your dice roll. So there's some interesting equipment that can be helpful. The game I found is actually quite tough. So we managed to succeed our first game, but ever since then, I don't think we've managed to succeed at all. I'm also trying to push up the difficulty level a little bit, trying to try out different scenarios. There's a whole bunch of different scenarios that come in the box. I think this one's quite ripe for an expansion at some point. But I'm really enjoying it. And as I said at the start, cooperative is something that I feel I'm kind of allergic to. So it takes a lot to find a cooperative game that I like. And I really enjoyed it. If that sounds interesting to you, go ahead and check out Fuji from Feuerlandspieler. Thanks for watching.